Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about what is happening with the stock, what we can expect moving forward, and all of that good stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, I do share my technical analysis, charting, etc., thoughts on the charts and the market and stocks. Every day, the market is open. For just $3 a month, I have a membership down below, a YouTube membership down below. The link to it is down below in the video. So definitely check it out. If you're interested, I mainly share my thoughts, Tesla and sometimes other stocks as well. But lately I've been sharing a lot of other stocks, or for $5 a month, access to all of that, plus NVIDIA daily updates, every day. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. So one thing, because I want to get into this, because for instance, this is kind of what I share, right? This is when NVIDIA was selling off on Friday, right? And you can see how I was saying how this is pretty much where, pretty important to hold this 140 to 142 area. And that's exactly what we held. That's exactly what we held. We actually got that bounce almost to perfection from that area. So the way I'm looking at NVIDIA, right, which by the way closed at $142.50 per share, down almost 2%, which is a bit of an underperformance, of course, compared to the markets. But the way I'm looking at it is, there's definitely bearish and bullish things about NVIDIA here, right? So let's just get the bearish things out of the way. I want to get the bearish things out of the way that are just very obvious, right? The very obvious bearish things is the fact that, well, like I said, we made a lower low, right? Constantly making higher highs, higher lows until, of course, this fresh lower low. Now, this doesn't have to be, overall bearish. It doesn't have to be, but it is concerning. It is concerning for sure, because we could be just setting what, could be absolutely a lower high, right? This could be a lower high right here, which in turn will at the very least bring us back down, in my opinion, to the mid to low 130s once again for potential double bottom, which could be the bottom. Or the bearish scenario is we just ultimately lose 130 and things go very badly for NVIDIA. And it arguably enters like a medium-term bearish environment, really. So the bulls definitely don't want to see that happen, that's for sure. Another thing that's potentially concerning is NVIDIA on the daily chart could be setting up a head and shoulders pattern. This bearish potential head and shoulders pattern on the daily. That could be something to watch out for as well, which the neckline for this is also pretty much 130. So really, if NVIDIA ever loses 130, I think it becomes pretty bearish. I think it becomes a very bearish stock, and that's something you probably want to avoid if, of course, that were to happen. So far, it's not. But if it does, it's concerning for sure. Very concerning, I would argue. So that's overall the bearish thesis, right? Pretty simple stuff. Now let's go over the bullish thesis. And there is a very valid bullish thesis now, right? There is something that is giving the bulls potentially some very, very good hope here, right? And this is what I'll talk about next. First of all, which the MACD is trying his damnedest to cross and stay bullish. That's a good sign, nonetheless. That is a good sign, nonetheless. I like that. But, wait, why are there two of them here? I don't know what this one even is for. Anyway, whatever. So that's number one. That's number one. Number two, stochastic. Nice bullish crossover, right? That's a nice sign to see as well. But probably the main thing that's making me have at least some confidence here for the bulls and potentially, I just hit my leg really hard against my chair. Oh, that hurt. But another way for the bulls to have potentially some really good confidence is going to be the fact that, we are holding this crossover. You can see here, right? This is the 9 EMA, which is the green line, and the 21 EMA, which is the red line, right? You can see that they were obviously bearish very recently, right? That's obviously a little concerning, but we pretty much found support right around that 50 EMA, which is a nice sign to see. My leg is stinging right now. I'm not gonna lie, that hurt. But the thing I like to see is this, right? This is where I was telling my members that, this could be an area for a potential bottom here, right? If there's a place for NVIDIA to not only potentially bottom off of this, obviously sell off, we had 2% on Friday, but to potentially actually have a chance to stay bullish and not truly become bearish, this is a good spot to do it because we're getting this flip, right? So the 9 EMA across the 21, which is bullish. And not only that, we're coming back down to retest it as support. This is the ideal scenario to not only enter, which is what I did, but also for the bulls to really step in and to really hold this momentum, because not only are we getting the flip, but we're getting both of them essentially acting as a double support over here. So if there's a place to do it, if there's a place for NVIDIA to flip bullish, this is the place to do it, right? So let's see how it plays out starting Monday, right? But essentially, I'd want to start seeing it hold at the minimum. I'd want to see it hold the 21 EMA and essentially not close a daily candle below it, or else we'll probably sell off back down to, at the very least, this 50 EMA, if not slightly to the 135s, potentially even worst case, 130s, which we already mentioned. If we lose 130, that's very bearish. But as long as we hold these bad boys here, I see NVIDIA moving up. I do see it actually moving up at the very least to about the 150s, right? I would not be surprised to see it closer to 150, sometime even potentially this week. as long as we hold this very, very crucial support area. And so far we are, and that's exactly right. I pretty much entered right on that support, right? Pretty much almost near the bottom of the day. Very happy about that entry. But as long as we hold it, I'm bullish. If we lose it, I'm going to start flipping slowly more bearish and bearish, especially if we start losing more and more, including the 50 EMA. So anyway, that's probably the most simplest way of putting it, really, right? And, you know, in terms of upside targets, again, the first one will be 150, but if we break and close above 150, right? If we actually do that, which don't forget that Fibonacci retracement is at 148 to 149. So I'm just saying 150 to make it simple. But if we close a daily candle above 150, or even honestly above like 148, that to me is a good sign. That to me is a bullish sign. And that to me tells me the fact that we could ultimately make our way higher overall and potentially even come up to the top of this pretty much rising channel or wedge at some point into the mid to late December, which will get closer to 160. That can be a very realistic target by the end of the year, right? For a kind of like a Santa rally. But this all hinges on, do we hold this area pretty much the low of Friday as support? Do we not lose it, especially close dailies below it? And if we do continue that, do we get a powerful rally, kind of like this one here, where we just held the green line, the 9 EMA constantly? Or at the very least, can we just hold the red line, which is the 21 EMA? Can we at least just stay above that, right? That's pretty much the simplest way of putting it, right? That's probably the simplest way of putting it. And that's probably the main way I'm looking at it, right? So you can see how many times whenever NVIDIA was kind of, a little concerning over here, bam, they both flip, both go over the 50, come back down, get that bullish retest, and it continues higher, and it holds even just the green line, right? That's in one example. Another example, for instance, is, okay, we were holding it this whole rally, and then we lost it, got a little bit bearish, came down below, a little bit concerning, I'm not gonna lie, not, super duper convincing, but, looking okay still, because at the very least, they're still crossed above a bullish. But then as we reclaimed it right here on this candle, bam, you enter that and you're good to go. And look at this nice little rally up here. And then of course, you obviously take other things into consideration, but nonetheless, right? Pretty powerful stuff regardless. So the way I'm looking at it is, again, very simple. I want to see that levels hold. I want to see the low of Friday hold ideally. That is the ideal bull case scenario, because if we start losing that, I will start getting a little bit more and more bearish. The more levels we're obviously going to start losing, and especially if we lose 130. Man, you do not want to lose 130 if you're a bull. I'll tell you that right now. That would be very detrimental. Now, going over to options flow very quickly for NVIDIA. Taking a look, nice little bullish flow towards the end of the day. I do like to see that. I like to see calls coming in towards the end of the day. That is always a nice thing to see, right? Some of them being, of course, for even end of December, which is always a nice sign to see. That means the bulls are definitely stepping in. So that's always a promising sign. But regardless, the bulls are still dominating the bears nonetheless. Pretty much the usual story on NVIDIA for the most part there. 18 million confirmed bearish flow though. So maybe a lot of the bullish flow did get closed. We'll see how that plays out. But again, options flow is one thing, which, cheddar flow, for instance, is phenomenal. I have a link to it if you're interested with a discount. So definitely check it out. But the main thing I'd be looking at really is just this right here, right? Just look at these EMAs, let the EMAs tell the story, let the crossover speak for itself, and let's see if we can hold above it. Because this, in theory, now, again, nothing is perfect. There's always risk. But in theory, this is a good sign for the bulls as long as we essentially do not close below Friday's low. I think it's looking pretty good. But if we do, obviously, I start getting concerned. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think down below. I'll see you on Monday. Peace.